I walked into my own bedroom and found nothing but carpet tracks and a picture nail still clinging to the wall, the air smelling like moving blankets and cheap perfume. My daughter-in-law stood where my bed used to be and told me, smiling, that it was their room now. You're watching Revenge Files. Subscribe for a new twist daily. I set my bags down, looked at the empty space where I've slept since my wife died, and told her to pack tonight because she'd need her own house by morning. My voice calm, my hands steady, and my phone already recording in my pocket. I'm 58, a widower, a maintenance supervisor for the school district in Dayton, Ohio. I keep receipts in labeled folders and screws in baby food jars, each cap painted to match the thread size. People tease me about that. I don't mind. My house on Clovercrest Drive is a 3-bed, 1.5-bath brick ranch, mortgage paid off in 2018. I paid for the roof out of pocket that same year. I earn around $62,000, enough to keep the place decent and the trucks running at work. It's not fancy. It's mine. 2 months earlier, my son Tyler asked if he and his wife Kayla could use the guest room for a few weeks while they saved for a deposit. I said yes with conditions. Written, dated, signed. 30 days, extendable another 30 if they followed the house rules. No pets, no smoking, no guests after 10. And the master bedroom was off limits. I typed it on my old Dell, printed 2 copies, and had them sign both. One went in a blue folder labeled House, Occupants. The other I put on the fridge with a magnet shaped like a hammer. It felt unnecessary. Family rarely is, until it is. I'd been away 3 weeks doing HVC life to safety checks in Toledo schools. I texted that I'd be back March 12, 2022, around 9. They sent a thumbs up emoji. I carried my bag down the hallway and saw the master door propped open by a laundry basket. The bed frame, the memory foam mattress I bought after my wife's chemo, the dresser she picked, gone. In their place, 2 IKEA nightstands and a fake fern situation that looked like it shed dust. Kayla leaned in the doorway as if she'd been waiting for the reveal. "It's our room now," she said, playful, like claiming the front seat. The smile floated on her face like a balloon. I scanned the room. Closet packed with clothes that weren't mine. My framed photo from Hocking Hills missing. The rug rolled in the corner like a body. I felt my pulse slow, not quicken. I do that when something breaks. A pipe, a promise. I quiet down. Then I reach for a tool. "Where's my bed?" I asked. She shrugged. "Sold. It was old. We're upgrading." Then she shifted into a tone people use on small dogs. "You can take the room off the hallway. We need space." I nodded once. "Pack your things," I said. "You'll need your own house tonight." The balloon popped. "You can't evict family," she said. "You can't kick out a married couple. We looked it up." "Look it up again," I said. I walked to the kitchen, set my keys in the bowl by the back door, and opened the blue folder labeled House, Occupants. I put the agreement on the table and flattened it with my palm. The magnet hammer thumped the fridge when I took it off the paper. I took a photo of the signed page. Then I texted the photo to both of them with a short line. "House rules remain in effect. Master bedroom off limits." I took another photo of the empty room. Then I opened Facebook Marketplace on my phone and searched Queen Bed Dayton Foam Mattress. I didn't know what I'd find. 10 listings down, I found the headboard I stained myself. My hand appears in the listing photo. From when I fixed the chip in the corner with walnut putty, you can see the crescent scar on my thumb. Kayla's profile face was on the listing. Price, $200. Pickup only. Need gone by Friday. Except I had the receipt showing I paid $1,149 for that set at Morris Home. I saved the receipt because I save everything. I saved the listing, took screenshots, and sent them to my email with the subject line evidence, bed sale 310. I dated it. Then I forwarded the listing to myself again because I don't trust one copy when it matters. I don't trust verbal either. The garage door rumbled. Tyler came in, smelling like tire shop rubber and fryer grease. He looked at me, looked at the paper on the table, then looked away. "Dad," he started, but the words stuck to his tongue. "Where's my dresser?" I asked. "Gone," he said. We're going to pay you back." "For what amount?" I said. "And by when?" He glanced at Kayla. 200, he said. Friday, I wrote E200 Friday on a sticky note and pressed it to the table under the photo of the signed agreement. Then I pulled another paper from the blue folder. It's titled Revocation of License to Occupy, something I wrote back when a buddy from work had his sister stay temporarily and then set up a tarantula tank in his dining room for 8 months. It's a simple notice. It states that permission to occupy is revoked due to rule violations and theft, effective immediately, and that the occupant has until 10 p.m. tonight to vacate the master bedroom and remove personal items from that room. It gives 10 days to vacate the premises entirely. It's not a court order. It's a paper trail. I signed it with my full name, Jonathan Mark Bishop. I dated it March 12, 2022. I slid the notice across the table. Kayla laughed without humor. "We'll call the police," she said. "Do," I said. I already did. I had called the non-emergency line in the driveway, told the dispatcher I returned to find my bed sold. The officer arrived while we stood in the kitchen stalemate. He looked at the paper trail. He listened to both sides. He took notes. He said what officers often say in these moments: civil issue, not criminal. Get an eviction order if they won't leave. He wouldn't make them move that night. He wouldn't make me remove them either. He wrote a report number and told me to keep the peace, but then he asked Kayla a question. "Did you sell his bed?" he said. She rolled her eyes and said, "Yes, but it was junk." He wrote that down. "I slept on a camping cot in the living room that night, the thin quilt my wife sewed years ago tucked up to my chin." The house sounded wrong. Footsteps in the wrong rhythm. A dryer running past midnight. Laughter not meant for me. I stared at the ceiling fan while the cot pressed its bars into my shoulder blades. 10 days, I told myself, and the ceiling and the dark. In the morning, I measured what was missing. I keep a laser tape in a drawer. I wrote down dimensions, took photos of blank spaces, cross-checked what matched my old insurance inventory. The dresser valued at $350. The mattress and frame at $1,149, bedding at $180. I wrote totals neatly, $1,679. I rounded up with tax and delivery to $1,780. I printed a one-page demand letter, pay $1,780 by March 22, 2022, or I will file in Dayton Municipal Small Claims. I put a second line. Return of property acceptable in lieu of cash for dresser and photo frame, bed already sold. I sent the letter certified mail to my own address and to Tyler's last apartment because certified mail isn't for them, it's for the file. Except when I checked my email that afternoon, there was a new credit alert for a change of address tied to my name. Someone had tried to forward my mail to a P.O. box on Kiowee Street. I drove to the post office and cancelled it in person. The clerk stamped void across the change form copy. I took a picture of that too. They widened the fight without understanding what widened fights cost. I looked up the buyer from the marketplace chat, which I accessed through Kayla's public listing comments. A woman named Ruth had commented "messaged," and later sold thanks. I messaged Ruth. I introduced myself and explained I was the original owner and that the bed was sold without my consent. I didn't ask for it back. I asked for the pickup date, time, and whether anyone mentioned a price. She responded within an hour, March 10th, around 6 p.m., $200 cash. 2 people carried it out, a silver SUV with a dented fender. The girl said her dad was moving to assisted living, Ruth wrote. I thanked her, saved the conversation as a PDF, and put it in the blue folder. The lie sat there in ink. I posted a written no pets notice on the fridge too when I found 2 unlicensed Rottweilers shut in the garage, panting hard. The notice cited my insurance policy and the no pet clause in the agreement. I gave 24 hours to remove the dogs. I called Montgomery County Animal Resource Center to ask about licensing. The clerk said fines start at $75 per dog without tags and shots. I didn't want the dogs punished. I wanted the house back. Still, I documented. The dogs barked at the door, deep and serious. That night, Kayla changed the master lock to a keypad model. I heard the drill bite and the screws flare. I didn't stop her. I took a photo of the packaging in the trash. I bought a new deadbolt for the front door and changed that one myself. I sent them the new code by text and said I'd change it again on March 22nd at 6 p.m. when their 10 days ended. I repeated that line like a heartbeat. March 22nd, 6 p.m. "Squatters' rights," Kayla said loudly in the hallway. "Not to me. He can't do anything. Ohio doesn't have what you think it has," I said. "I do." Then I filed. On March 15th, I walked into Dayton Municipal Court with a binder, a check for $95, and a calm face. I filed a forcible entry and detainer action and a separate small claims for conversion. I attached the license agreement, the revocation notice, the officer's report number, the marketplace screenshots, the certified letters, the mail forward cancellation, and my demand letter. I listed the property value, the dates, and wrote a simple statement. Permission to occupy guest room revoked due to theft and violation of written agreement. Defendants have taken master bedroom and sold plaintiff's bed. The clerk stamped the case numbers. 24 CVG to 3,217 for the eviction, 24 SC to 1,981 for small claims. The hearing date came back for March 24th at 9 a.m. On the eviction, April 12th at 2:30 p.m. for small claims. I texted those dates to Tyler and Kayla. "You'll need to appear," I wrote. "Bring any receipts you have." But then, a new alert hit at 7:18 p.m. the same day. A Lowe's in Beaver Creek flagged a same-day pickup order for a DAIE 2,799 mattress set and a DAIE 689 dresser purchased on a credit application in my name with my address. I didn't apply for a card. I didn't need a mattress. I called the fraud number and froze the order. The store manager said a cousin of Kayla's placed it and planned to pick it up at 8:30. I called the officer whose card I kept. He called the store. I drove to the parking lot and watched from a row away while an old Chevy pulled in and a man walked in with a phone out, reading the order number from a screenshot. He didn't walk out with anything. He walked out with a court date. I didn't celebrate. I texted Tyler, "This stops now." He didn't answer. The tension climbed anyway. Tyler started parking his truck sideways across the driveway like a blockade. Music rattled the windows past midnight. A group of friends came by and left beer cans in the recycling like trophies. I filmed none of it with a phone held high. I filmed it with the Nest camera above the garage and the doorbell cam that stamps time. One problem, my anger wanted voice. I gave it paperwork instead. On March 20th, I slid an envelope under the master door. Inside were 2 copies of a reasonable offer. If they moved out by March 22nd at 6 p.m., I would dismiss the eviction and only pursue small claims for the sold bed, not any other damages. I would not oppose a rental application by verifying they paid utilities while living here. I would even drive a U-Haul for 2 hours at no charge. I printed it in plain English, no tricks. I meant it. "Not signing," came a voice through the door. "Then bring your calendar," I said, and plan for March 24th at 9. I ate simple that week. Eggs, toast, 1 pot of chili. I shaved every morning. I went to work and fixed a drinking fountain that whined because a set screw loosened. The building manager thanked me like I saved a life. I smiled and felt nothing. March 22nd arrived wet and grey. At 6 p.m. I changed the front door code and texted the new one again to Tyler with a line. "This is the code for you to exit and enter. Until the hearing, do not change locks again. Do not use the master bedroom. Keep common areas clean." He replied with a thumbs down. The new emoji people use like spitting. The dogs were still in the garage. I wrote down that too. 2 days later, I sat in a wood-paneled courtroom and kept my binder closed until the magistrate asked me to open it. Tyler and Kayla arrived 8 minutes late and took the defendant's table. Kayla wore a sweater with pearls embroidered around the collar. Tyler stared at the floor. "Mr. Bishop," the magistrate said, "explain." "I did, in 10 sentences. I used dates. I used the phrase revoked license to occupy. I said conversion of property instead of theft, because civil court likes civil words." I slid photos across. I handed over the signed agreement. I handed over the police report number. I handed over the marketplace screenshots, the Lowe's fraud confirmation, and the mail forward cancellation. I did not point. I did not raise my voice. My hands didn't shake. Kayla argued squatters' rights and family hardship. She included a speech about respect that used the word toxic 3 times. The magistrate listened. Then she asked a single question. Did you sell his bed? Yes, Kayla said. Did he give permission? No, she said, then corrected herself. He wasn't using it. That's not permission, the magistrate said. The order came the way orders come. Clinical, exact and binding. Writ of restitution granted. Defendants to vacate 7 days from service. Any remaining property at set out may be placed at curb. Costs assessed to defendants. Her voice made a path through air that felt solid enough to walk on. She set the set out for March 31st between 9 and noon. The bailiff explained how the morning would go. I wrote every word down. But then the small claims judge on April 12 did more than nod. He awarded $2,450 for conversion of the bed, dresser and missing items, plus $95 in filing costs and $32 service fee. He wrote it in blue ink, signed it, and handed me 4 copies. He set interest at 5% per year. He accepted my itemized list and my Morris home receipt without drama. Kayla tried to argue depreciation. The judge said, "You get that when you return items. You sold the bed. I started small on collection, like turning a valve gradually. A letter first, then a call, then a wage garnishment when Kayla started a job at a dental office. $122 a week came off her check, a trickle turning into a habit. Tyler called me 2 months into that and asked if I would stop the garnishment if he made payments. I told him the garnishment was a payment. He hung up, but he kept paying because the law took it before his pocket could keep it warm. On March 31st, the bailiff arrived. Tyler and Kayla had packed by then. The dogs were gone. The master bedroom door stood open, empty but for a scuff I later washed with magic eraser and patience. They rolled out a TV in silence. A neighbor watched over a coffee mug like it was a parade. I didn't look at the neighbor. I looked at the carpet tracks, straight and thin like the bed had been a ship and this was its wake. I changed the master lock after they left. I called the insurance agent and put the file back to bed. In April, I bought a new queen bed, not memory foam this time. I ordered a firm hybrid with a simple wood frame. $1,050 delivered. The receipt went in the blue folder. The delivery guys carried it in on April 2nd and set it down where the old one had been. I placed my wife's photo back on the dresser I eventually found at a thrift store for $80 and refinished to look like the first. I slept, and when I woke up without a knot in my stomach for the first time in weeks, I realized the house had shifted back onto its foundation. Not physically. Something deeper. I changed small things. I added a second exterior camera. I put a tamper alarm on the garage door. I installed a keypad on the hall closet where I keep important papers and sentimental things. I told Tyler he could come by on Sundays for coffee if he texted first. He showed up 3 times, then disappeared into the kind of silence adult sons use when they don't know what to do with their pride. I didn't chase him. I kept a chair empty. Mid-June, a letter came from the city prosecutor about the Lowe's attempt. A misdemeanor plea, a $500 fine, 2 years probation for the cousin who tried to pick up the order, restitution waived because no money left my account. I filed the letter under fraud. Resolved. Kayla's garnishment continued until February of the next year, when the final balance hit 0 and a clerk stamped satisfied across the judgment. The ink looked like closure. Except closure is rarely ink. It's the quiet you earn after the noise you don't. It's the way you stand in your own bedroom and recognize the window light like an old friend, the way the floor gives under your feet where it always has. Around the holidays I got a card from Ruth, the woman who bought my original bed. "We didn't know," she wrote. "I hope you're sleeping better now." I put the card in the blue folder. I am. People at work heard versions of the story. Some asked if I regretted letting them stay. I don't regret being kind. I regret not drawing a thicker line early. My wife used to say, "A boundary is a kindness with edges." I stopped pretending edges aren't sharp. One evening in late March the next year, almost exactly a year after the courtroom morning, Tyler texted to ask if I wanted to meet for coffee. I said yes. We sat in a booth that smelled like syrup and disinfectant. He looked thinner. He said, "I was wrong." I said, "I know. We talked about tires and payroll and his plan to move to Cincinnati for a job. He didn't ask for money. I didn't offer. We both paid our checks. On the way out, he said, 'That bed was Mom's.'" I nodded. He nodded back. Then we walked to our cars like men who finally realized apology isn't a currency, it's a tool. Weeks later, I stood in the master bedroom and opened the window. The evening air moved across the room slow and sure, like a big river. I looked at the bed and thought about the first night I slept after everything. How the quiet wasn't a gift. It was payment collected, receipts tallied, orders signed, keys turned, and a door shut with my hand on the lock. Home isn't the walls. It's the boundary you defend without shouting. It's the bed still where you left it when you come back from a long day and the house says, "Welcome," in the same voice it always used.